So today we are going to be drawing your face. Well, I'm going to be drawing my face. You're going to be drawing your face. I love to draw faces. Every face is different, isn't it? That is literally the stupidest thing I've ever said. Now, there are lots of components to the face, which can make it a challenge. So we're going to try and keep it fairly simple. It's all about having a go, taking some time out, not being too precious about it. Don't worry if you get it wrong. If you get it wrong, you can throw it away, you can start again. Literally just putting a little bit of time aside for you so that you can focus on this. See how it makes you feel. If it turns out well, then you might even want to keep it. And if it turns out really well, then maybe you want to try drawing your friends and your family. So that's it. Are you ready to get into the drawing with me? Then let's go. So let's talk about pencils and which ones you could be using today. If you've got any pencils lying around the house, then go and grab them now. It's really useful to know that pencils are split into grades. This set ranges from 6B through to 4H. The B grades stand for black. They are great for softer areas and darker shadows and lowlights. The H grades stand for hard. These pencils are great for lighter areas and fine lines. And your standard HB pencil sits right in the middle here. So if you have both an H grade and a B grade, then that's fantastic. But otherwise, just use what you have for now. So now let's talk about rubbers. Okay, so you're definitely going to need some sort of rubber in order to erase certain areas of the graphite off your page. You might have a rubber on the end of your pencil like this one, but this rubber is likely to be a bit rubbish because it's hard to control, it's a rounded shape and it's quite hard to clean. You might use a standard rubber like this one. You can use the points, but just make sure to keep them clean and pinch off the used areas regularly. If you need to create some fine lines, but your rubber is looking a bit dull around the edges, then you can simply cut the rubber in half. And look, fantastic, new clean corners to use. If you've got a proper kneadable putty rubber, then that is fabulous. You can mould it to whatever shape you need, and it's perfectly suited for the job. But for those of you who haven't got one of those, what you can do is use good old Blu Tack. Blu Tack is perfect because you can roll it to lift large sections of graphite from the page, but you can also pinch it to a point and then get fabulous fine highlights. Lastly, if you want to go really fancy schmancy, you can get yourself something like this. This one is called a Tombow Mono Eraser. It's a very fine rubber point in a pencil casing. It allows for really finely detailed erasing, and if I'm honest, it's a bit gorgeous. So get ready, this is what we are using. 1 or 2 pencils to draw with. For blending, we want to use some loo roll and some cotton wool buds. We need the rubber and a sharpener. An old dry brush if you have one. This is for cleaning your surface of any loose graphite or dirt. And some masking tape. When you've got all of this, then we can grab some paper and get cracking. So now we need a printout of your face. Now you can use any clear photo that you already have or a printout from your computer. Let's make it about A5 in size and just trim away any white border from the right hand side of the page if you draw with your right hand, and trim away any white border from the left hand side if you are left-handed. This is just going to make it easier to get your photo and your drawing sitting right next to each other. So now we are going to get a rough outline of your face onto your blank A4 sheet of paper so that you can start drawing, and this is how we do it. We are going to use the light source from a window to lightly trace the basic outlines of your face from the photo onto your piece of paper. So take the masking tape and very lightly tape your photo or your printout to a window. If it's a bright day, this process will be much easier than if it's really dark outside. Then place your blank A4 sheet of paper over the top and secure it with masking tape. You should be able to see your face through the paper. If your paper is a little thick, then you might have a bit more trouble seeing what's underneath. But just work with what you have and don't worry about it too much. Take your pencil, your H pencil if you have one, and very, very lightly sketch the outline of your face onto the page. It really doesn't have to be perfect. These are just guidelines. So don't worry if you can't see it clearly, just enjoy the process. If you really can't see it clearly enough using a window, then any surface where you can put a light behind it will work. I'll show you on a light box. This is speeded up slightly, but you can see that I'm just going very lightly and finding the shapes on the face and drawing very light outlines. I'm not pressing hard on the page, and my pencil is really sharp. If you have a blunt pencil, it will be much harder to work with, so do make sure that you've got it nice and sharp. When you're making marks on the page, make sure to also mark where the deep folds are in your face, the lines around the nose and under the chin, and also mark out any deep shaded areas and even highlights. This will all help you for the next stage. So now you should have something that looks a bit like this. Use masking tape to stick both pieces of paper down. Now I've drawn my lines slightly darker, otherwise you won't see them on camera. But your aim at this point is to keep those lines as light as possible. And that's because we want to focus on shading and not outlines to bring out all of those features on your face. So if you feel that your current lines are a bit too dark, just use your rubber or blue tack to lighten them up. You really do only just need to be able to see these lines to help guide you. So we're going to slowly build up layers of shading because your face is made up of dips and hills, and these are all defined by shadows and highlights. So that's what we're going to concentrate on. So take your H pencil and start shading ever so lightly. Being right-handed, I find that it's easiest to start on the top left of the face and work across and down. That way you won't be smudging what you've done by wiping the back of your hand over the drawing. If you hold your pencil too close to the tip, it will be hard to get a good rhythm for shading. So if you can, try to keep your fingers further away from the tip of the pencil. Hold it at an angle and very gently either make light back and forth motions, or you can go around in very light small circles. It doesn't matter which you choose for shading. Just try it and enjoy the process of putting pencil to paper. Once you start, keep looking at your photo closely to really follow where the shading needs to go. But do keep your pencil strokes really light, as you will end up going over these areas 2 or 3 times anyway before you finish. This first sweep is really to cover the whole face with a base coverage, so just remember to keep it light. As you draw, yes, you're drawing now! How brilliant is this? Try to relax your body and notice if you are holding any tension in your grip or your neck or anywhere else in your body. This whole exercise is about putting aside your daily thoughts and allowing your brain to focus in on this one soothing exercise. At least, I hope it's soothing. A good tip for shading is to encourage your pencil strokes to follow the plane of your face. So as I'm going down the nose, for example, my pencil is also going down rather than across. And I'm still keeping everything really light, especially over the length of the nose, where the light is hitting it. The nose can be particularly tricky, so pay careful attention to where the actual shadows are and not where you think they are. We'll keep covering the skin and leave the eyes till a little bit later. How is yours looking at the moment? How are you feeling about drawing now? Are you relaxing into it yet? Or is it stressing you out? Try to relax. Don't worry if it doesn't look anything like you were expecting yet. You really won't see the real beauty in your drawing until the very end anyway. So don't give up. You should actually feel really proud of yourself for getting this far. The wonderful thing about tracing your own face is that you have a fantastic starting point for your drawing. And just so you know, tracing isn't cheating. And copying isn't cheating. We learn by tracing and we learn by copying. If you want to do more drawing, then copy what you love. And don't worry about it. And as you learn how things work, you'll then have the confidence to try creating your own style and your own vision. And that is the beauty of art. So once you've covered the face in a light layer of graphite, we are going to blend all the little lines out so that you end up with a much smoother base. So take a little loo roll and wind it round your finger and gently start rubbing in small circular motions. And you should start to see that the lines start to soften and blend into each other. Keep doing this until everything smudges a bit. Don't worry too much about how it looks right now. Just enjoy the process of blending. Once you've blended, then pick up your pencil and start again. Keep referring to the photo on the left and start to pencil in your shadows from left to right, following the planes of your face. Keep your pencil sharp, but use it on the side and hold it away from the tip. Now, as this is your second layer, you should be able to see how the graphite is building up, giving you darker tones now. Don't be scared to get into those areas around the eye. Remember that this is just an experiment. It doesn't have to be perfect, but at least you are having a go, and that is amazing. You'll usually find more shadows around the edges of the face, under the nose. Watch those chins. Well, I've got several. You might be lucky enough to just have the one. So what does drawing do to your brain? Well, drawing helps to improve your hand-to-eye coordination. So the more you draw, the better that your brain, your eyes and your hands harmonise. Drawing helps to enhance the development of the brain by putting all parts of the brain to work. That is pretty incredible. As well as having an impact on the brain itself, it also has an impact on your emotions, the nervous system, and it can actually raise serotonin levels. Research has proven that the arts develop neural systems that produce a broad spectrum of benefits, ranging from fine motor skills to creativity and improved emotional balance. And let's face it, who doesn't need that? So once you have finished your second layer of graphite on the page, get a clean piece of loo roll and once again gently blend over everything you've just done. Really, don't worry that you are messing up your gorgeous shading. It will all be worth it at the very end and it will work out. Just trust the process. You are doing brilliantly. This time round, use your softer B pencil if you have one. I'll be using a 4B. This will enable you to work in the darker shadows onto the page and start going in for those really dark details and darker areas. Work slowly and surely, always comparing your drawing to your reference. Get those shadows into the eye area, draw in your iris. Don't be scared to go in quite dark now. Use your old dry brush if you find that you have loose graphite sitting on the page, as you don't want that to smudge into your work. Here we go with the nose again. I'm just building up those layers around the sides, at the top and at the bottom. How is your nose looking now? Now in my reference drawing, my eyes are really dark and you can't see much detail in them. So I'm going to do my drawing a favour and keep my eyes a little bit lighter because I want to keep the end product fairly light in tone and I don't want to miss an opportunity to keep some finer detail in it. The same goes for your drawing. If you want to make a few tweaks or adjustments along the way, it's your drawing, so just go for it. Time for another gentle rub down with a clean piece of loo roll wrapped around your finger. Or you can use your blending stump if you prefer, like I'm doing here. Would you like to see a video on how to use blending stumps? If so, let me know in the comments below. Now this is my favourite part of drawing, adding in the fine details. Keeping the pencil nice and sharp, you can really pick out all those fine lines, fine shadows, especially around the mouth and the eyes. Look carefully for the irregularities in your face by checking the reference photo. For example, you might think that your smile is even, but it's actually probably not. So at some point you can take a step back from your drawing and decide that you've done enough with the face to get a likeness, because that's what we're after. And now we can make a start with the hair. So take your H pencil again and just think of your hair as sections rather than individual strands. And if you haven't done so already, just outline the sections of your hair like I've done here, and then very lightly fill in those sections, going in the direction that the hair lies. Then take either a clean piece of loo roll or a stump, I'm trying with a cotton wool bud, and gently blend out the hair just like you did with the skin earlier. This cotton wool bud works pretty well. So well that I've decided to go back over the face just a little bit to smooth out any obvious pencil lines and give the skin a softer finish. Using your H pencil on the side, just shade in the hair looking to see where the light hits it and keeping those areas lighter. Don't worry about individual strands at this point. This is just block shading for now. The hair is usually darkest closest to the skin. Don't worry about being too precious, just fill it in, keep referring back to your photo. Once your hair sections are shaded in, then you can take your softer pencil and start to go in and give those sections some strength and depth. Now if you're worried about smudging your work when your hands are on the paper, then use a clean sheet of paper to rest between your hands and the drawing. Once the hair is all blocked in, you can start to add a few more defined areas using the sharp B pencil. This will help to lift your drawing when you start to add this definition, creating some fine lines now that you have the background layer for those fine lines to sit on. Now that the hair is on, I can compare my drawing to the photo and go back in with a soft pencil and touch up any areas where it needs more definition. I'm now going in with my really sharp pencil to draw in the eyelashes, blemishes and wrinkles. All of these fine details will really help to make your drawing recognisable, which is after all what we're going for today. If you want to do what I did and add a highlight to each eye, just use your rubber or fine eraser to pick out the light in the eyes. Also, you might want to highlight the bridge of the nose, the lips and any other area where you can see light hitting the skin. Once you have used your rubber to create all of the highlights that you need, then you are finished. Well done! What do you think of your work? You have created something amazing, and I would love to see what you've done. If you are brave enough to post your drawing on Instagram, then tag me, #GabrielleVickeryIllustration, and then we can all see what you've done. I really hope that you enjoyed the process of drawing your face today, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video.